City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! Special beyond special.
Best player in the Premier League.
Captain Marvel. Drogba! Rooney! Oh, wonderful! That is one Derby diamond.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's match day.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Clash of Clubs. I'm Dylan alongside Mila and Grant, as always. Episode 39. Liverpool are now champions of the Premier League. Man City have a perfect week. Chelsea are finding form. And the Champions League is tomorrow. So we will talk about all that. But since we are a Premier League podcast, we got to talk about the team that won the Premier League. So does anybody have an inkling to want to start here?
I mean, I think it's best for me, given where you two stand. It's the deserved team this year. I don't think that's really in question. There's a lot of factors around it, outside talk in terms of the level it took to win it. And you can have all those arguments, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. I don't think they should care about that. I think it's cool to see as a fan of the game, them be able to celebrate it. Gives you that motivation as a team. It should give the other teams, let's do some quick math here, the other 19 teams next year, they should be motivated by that. Because as you saw, they were able to enjoy it, had a great time. I thought the blue flares were pretty funny though. But the best team in the league this year. They were the most consistent, and anytime they did take the foot off the gas, no one else really sped up to try and catch up. They jumped out ahead of that big start, and no one else really tried to catch up. But fair play to all of them. Slot coming in first year in this league. A lot of people were talking about them rebuilding 6th or 7th. He might get sacked early. Won the league comfortably. So you got to give a lot of credit to everyone there. Obviously, there's question marks going into next year. Trent's probably gone. You still keep Salah. You still keep Van Dijk. So they'll have a lot of that team coming back. I think they're probably going to be heavy in the number 9 market, which is going to be interesting because a lot of teams are, and it's a thin market. It feels like we say that every year, but we're probably going to see some teams overpay. There's not going to be much patience with any of these guys if they don't score right away in regards to all those big number 9s that are going to go for big money. But I'm excited to see what they try to do. All they did was bring in C.O.C, who doesn't play. They signed a keeper. He'll be coming in. Maybe Allison leaves. So interested to see what teams do what. Obviously, a lot of that also has to do with who ends up getting Champions League, who's going to be in Europe next year. But best team won. What do you guys think?
I think you covered a lot of my thoughts. Dylan and I did have them a lot lower than you did on the predictions at the start of the season. I don't think you had them winning, but
I had Forest.
None of us did. Yeah, it's all good. We definitely got some things way wrong. But yeah, like you were saying, to come into the league and win it in your first season, there's only 4 other managers that have done that. So congrats to Slot. But one thing that I saw that I really liked was him giving Klopp that credit as well, and saying that, I might have got this a rare achievement, but it could not have been done without the prior management and what they've been building there. And I thought that was just cool from a sporting perspective.
Yeah, the meme of the guy who's mining and he gets really, really close, but then he pulls back. That's Klopp.
He won already. He won one.
Yeah, but with this particular team, all those signings were really his. And
but they stopped playing for him was the issue. It was never that the team itself had just gone to shit. And also
they were in that title race up until the end-ish. They fell off maybe match week 32, 33.
They couldn't handle there was just a lot of things that they did wrong, I think. Announcing Klopp to leave so early in the season last year was definitely a decision. and there was just pressure on them, like a lot of pressure on them. You see this year when there's not as much competition, and I know I'm not trying to take anything away from them, but less pressure on a team like this, I think that helps to push for a title, especially when they do have this team. With the reserves about slot, a lot of that came with higher expectations for the rest of the league. So I'm just really looking forward to seeing the next season for Liverpool. If they can maintain this and keep building for the next couple of years, then I think I'll definitely credit this Premier League title more. But as of right now, I think they, like you were saying, they rose to the occasion with a bunch of teams underperforming, and they got it done. So
yeah,
we
I
have
think
to
it has to
commend
be
them for that.
it has to be that perfect storm. I think that's really
Mhm.
to win any type of trophy. Things have to go your way. That's not to discredit. It's just pointing out things that
Right.
happen. I mean, that's a lot of discourse in the NBA. Like the past 5 years, it's always, oh well, this team didn't have to play any tough teams and injuries, and that's the name of the game. Unfortunately, things have to go your way. It's not all about. It's not a video game. You can't turn off injuries, simulate the best team win. That's not how it works. So yeah, you got to give credit to that. Yeah, Dylan, any thoughts?
Yeah, no. To Mila's point, I titled this one "Heavy is the head that wears the crown" because I think that's kind of indicative of what this season was. I think that the teams that were under the most pressure coming into the season have really crumbled. I think that the Uniteds of the world's Spurs to this point, Arsenal and City have all dropped off a significant level, and a team that has kind of been like in the back shadows for a little bit just because of all the turmoil and losing a manager or whatever kind of rose to the occasion, and their star players were better than everyone else's star players, right? Like Van Dijk and Salah really get a big credit for this season for me in terms of what Liverpool did. I mean, look, Salah is on pace for one of the most historic seasons ever. He'll go down to probably as the player of the year, and Van Dijk is the first, I think I saw it's like the first Dutch captain to win the Premier League. So they all get credit in their own ways. I think it's more indicative of where the league is at as a whole compared to like Liverpool were just this super juggernaut of a team. Because I think over the last 5 seasons, we've seen that there are juggernaut teams that are, if they were competing in the same Premier League, they probably would run away with it too. They absolutely deserve their flowers. I does it feel like anybody kind of is like over the moon about this season in terms of that? Like I don't know.
No, I think
Just
to
underwhelming
similar.
from an outside perspective, I think. But
Yeah.
obviously, if you ask a Liverpool fan who's been getting
They don't care, and they shouldn't.
prevented from these, no, they
But I
shouldn't
think
care.
no. Similar the way kind of where you were going with that, Dylan. I feel like when it came into this, going into this season, they were the most prepared. Like they were ready for any team to stumble, and by any team, I mean Man City, right? We heard it for 2 years. Arsenal team that once Man City fumble, they're there. And to be fair, I would have expected that based off what I saw the past 2 years. Like Arsenal were right there, neck and neck. They weren't the only team to drop off. Man City, a lot of other teams drop off, and Liverpool were just prepared. They were ready. Like you were saying, some past seasons when Pep was at getting 100 points, Klopp was at 97. Yeah, this level of team perhaps is just Champions League qualification, maybe a cup, and you move on to next year. But yeah, they were the most prepared season. They're rewarded for it.
Yeah, I mean they were a really good side. I don't think they were an all-time elite side, but they were a really, really good side. And obviously their numbers over the next 4 games are going to change things, but
and we're probably going to see a very new attack. So I mean, that's what they need, because Salah did drop off in terms of his output, which again, very understandable. His output was ridiculous for a good portion of the season. But again, no one really needed to fill that void. They were comfortable enough. The other teams behind them were dropping points. It didn't really matter. So I think with teams really going hard for next season, they're going to need someone to fill that void or be able to step up when he's not on his A game. So probably going to bring in another 9. You always hear about Diaz leaving, so might get another winger. Interesting to see how they look next year.
I was going to say, I mean, I thought they were going to get signings during January and during the summer of last year, and they made 2, right? 1.
Yeah,
They
no,
can technically
Chiesa and
do it.
then the keeper.
So
They loaned him back.
I think this is more of like a slot proved that he can do it with the guys that he's currently got. He's going to lose one of his integral pieces in Trent, and so now it's on the board to just back the guy that's already proven that he can go to the summit. Like they're in a very good spot. It'll be interesting to see how much they pay the star players that they just paid and how that affects their transfer policies. Because Liverpool isn't one of those teams that
K
just
a week.
How much
For Van Dijk? I think I saw 400K a week for Van Dijk. I'm not sure about Salah.
Ooh.
That's KDB, no money, bro. That's a lot of money.
Ooh.
I mean, he was that level, but an aging player, it's risky for sure. But
it just changes the checks and balances, and they're not
absolutely
not a side that is that's done what Chelsea and City have done recently in terms of like getting young players and selling them off. They don't do that. That's not their policies. But they've done well in a number of years in a row here to prove that they can get integral pieces no matter what. So we'll see.
If we want to count a 15-year-old, they signed 3 players.
Yeah, I'm not counting.
You got Here We Go from Fab.
I would count the 15-year-old if I thought it was important.
Apparently, he's levels. So we'll see.
In 3 years or 2 years, we'll see the levels there. All right, I'm tired of talking about them. Let's switch gears.
But we don't care.
If you wanted to hear some long-winded soliloquy on Liverpool winning the league, then you should have chosen.
That was the guard of honor.
To sum it all up, though, like they did great to get it done. No competition, and they need to back it up next year for me to even care.
Yeah, well, next year they're going to be going up against this guy, so it doesn't even matter. You know what I mean?
No, they won't. He'll be in.
They're going to be going up against.
He'll be in Italy.
I'm talking about the gorilla. I'm not talking about.
He'll also be in Italy.
Say what were you the gorilla? Where's the 99 other Hoylunds? 100 Rasmus Hoylunds.
No, one Hoyland versus 100 gorillas.
They wouldn't want to watch that.
Last time we had the pod, it was before City played Villa. Do we want to talk about the Villa game at all, or do you want to just rush over it as a 2-1?
No, we should talk about it.
All we need to talk about is how I called the winner. That's all we need to talk about.
No, you didn't.
I wasn't able to watch the game. I was not able to watch the game, the City Villa game. So I texted in our chat, patiently waiting meme of me saying I was going to wait for Mila to celebrate scoring the winner, and then 2 minutes later, what happened, Mila?
A winner, but I already told you 30 minutes before that we were going to win.
And I told you just go at the Sassy. I've seen enough of him.
Yeah, you did say I don't want to see Disasi on the field in this game.
It doesn't matter.
His value went down by 5 million.
He's terrible. And I have no idea why the right back spot is there.
Why do they keep putting him at right back?
Against Doku?
It was just a massive mistake.
Late performance Doku has been one of the most unstoppable things I've seen in a while.
Oh, super sub Doku? It's like Garnacho off the bench, right? It's like that type of player. It's like in that.
It's quicker and angrier.
Just that type of player.
Sorry, I thought I before I heard you say Doku, I thought you meant super sub Disasi, and I got really confused.
Yeah, for us, that's a great result for my club. That's why.
No, it was a good performance. Overall, Unk's got the job done. The new setup is working. Just trying to think of like the quick little tidbits off the top of my head.
The thing that stood out to me when you were texting us in a group chat was that killer mentality is back.
Oh yeah,
you mentioned that right after.
We've been talking about that. But I've heard plenty of City fans talk about it since after that goal. I don't remember the last time we got a 90th plus minute winner. Like it's been a good while. Whereas like there's been some seasons where we're just ripping them up all the time. I remember that there was one Sterling season and he had like 4 in the span of a couple weeks. So it's that like you were saying, that killer mentality definitely feels like it's back. There's pride in the squad again, and that's all basically most City fans have been asking for, along with Pep, is that they play with pride and they play for the badge. Right. And it looks like they're doing that. I know that the defense has been a big question all season, but now we finally have a little makeshift consistent 4 back there. Probably not anything that anyone could have predicted at the start of the season. O'Reilly, Gavardio, Diaz, and Nunez. But it's working, and it's the reason that we are able to play this brand of football right now is because of Nunez and O'Reilly, and also just the distance that Gavardio covers and how he can bring up the ball in the back. So they've just been pivotal, and I think that showed in the Villa game and in the game after that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's funny how Nunez. I think we've gone through this kind of wave with him in terms of him being like,
crazy this season.
It might work it right back. Oh, it definitely doesn't work it right back.
Remember when he was our best winger at the start of the season?
Yes, I do remember that.
Right,
he's literally left winger, freaking highest GNA or whatever out of everyone but like Holland, and
what a
now
weird
he's
year.
cooking it up at right back.
What a season for him! Yeah,
hectic.
fuck.
Yeah. It's not like rocket science that these athletes are kind of helping out with the unkification or whatever unkification that you were then talking about. No, unkification has been this whole year. It's just like unks everywhere.
That's true.
The uncation is the new thing that it seems to be working. It's a weekend at Bernie's experiment.
It was. I don't know if the unks is even like the right. Some of them are. They're getting up there. They're getting a little older. But Bernardo, in that quote that he had, he's right. Like him and Copa are only like 30 years old. They're really not that old. But the issue all season was that they looked leggy. They looked tired. And this is not the same midfield that we had 2 to 3 years ago where they can run the same and operate the same. So it just took some tweaking from Pep to kind of figure it out. And now we're running this more central-based system, but
winning the midfield
wingers.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Bernardo looked like Old Yeller for a good portion of this season. Like
he did, but now he's looking really good. So
no doubt.
Yeah.
But the criticisms were fair. That was my only point. And like
I think all the criticisms
they were leggy.
Like,
they looked the part.
Squad were fair. Yeah, every criticism of the City team outside of the blasphemous ones have been deserved because they.
Would you like to list off any blasphemous ones?
I was gonna say
I don't have any. I don't think we have any. I'm just saying.
How about is there one that you really don't like that you just want to shut down right now, off the top of your head?
Just like blasphemous takes that I would like to shut
down. Well, the ones that you just said, other
than
the blasphemous
that you heard.
Give me one of those.
Oh, Pep out.
What are you talking? Yeah, okay.
That is
blasphemous.
I totally forgot.
Pep out is the main one, honestly.
I do see. You know what? I've seen it.
What morons, bro!
Every once in a blue moon, I'll see some. I'm like, I think they're. But I'm like looking at comments, and he's like responding, talking about who they should be looking at. I'm like, oh, they actually want to get rid of this dude.
Yeah,
that is
guys literally revolutionized.
That's the people that are just a little bit too spoiled and like,
right.
Which is
grass isn't always greener.
No, it's not. And we as a fan base should know that by now. Like we've heard it plenty of times. There's plenty of players that want to leave to go to greener pastures, and then it turns out that it's fucking dead grass over there. So like, Kalma with the Pep out. I don't think anyone's asking for that now.
Are you talking? Were you referring to a player that's currently getting paid by my club?
I'm talking about a lot of players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before
Villa game.
Villa. I don't know. I don't have anything to say about Villa specifically in that game, but you put City's impressive week. It was a week of hell from Villa.
Yeah, it was disastrous.
It was terrible.
You
lose in a 90th minute to kind of take you almost out of the race, or at least it's not in your hands anymore. And then
you need a lot of things to go your way now, yeah.
And then Rashford comes off with an injury, which is now done for the year. And he was their best player the entire City game.
You could argue Asensio. Oh, City game. Sorry, I thought you said
City game.
He's
been one of their best players since they got him. Like, losing him is a massive issue,
no doubt,
because they don't have that type of spark anywhere else outside of like Asensio.
He wouldn't have been able to play in the the FA Cup though, would he?
I think he would have been.
Cup tie.
He's not.
Well, you guys did you guys
He
play
didn't play in the FA Cup. I think I think I saw something about that. But even if he didn't play in the FA Cup, his integral portion of being Prem is
of course.
understandable.
But
But then he slapped up by Palace 3-0.
Yeah, dude.
And
the
they missed
tough part of that was like, Palace could have ran away with that game, but all of their
They could have
goals were
hit a Germany,
they
Brazil.
were bangers. They didn't score the easy ones. They scored all the hard ones and made Emmy look like a fucking nobody. They just whipped past him.
Yeah, that game was crazy.
They're in some deep shit if they can't refine some form here. They have nothing
to switch though.
Yeah,
Crazy.
within 2 weeks. No, not even 2 weeks.
They were one of the most feared teams in the Premier League up until
within a week.
Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah, good luck to them. I don't. Their stretch of games looks a whole lot tougher. Palace deserve some credit here. They've been they're the bottom team that's
also flip of the
they
switch.
Can get Europa League.
That won't. I don't think that happens. If I'm being honest with you. Because what you need Europa is 7.
No, they just need to win the FA Cup. That's it.
FA Cup.
Relax.
Hey, last time I was banking on you guys to win an FA Cup, I wasn't happy.
Yeah,
so no.
Fair enough.
Right, keep rooting for.
That's why we're playing some team that I still can't pronounce their name, and we're in the semifinal. Thanks.
All right, let's talk about the FA Cup because that's the end of City's marvelous, impressive week. Oh, wrong team. Boop. There we go. City 2 Forest. No.
Yeah. What the hell? What the hell, man? Look at that line.
I looked at SofaScore. Anytime it looks like that, I check SofaScore. SofaScore might have been.
No, that's right. That's basically right.
That is literally how it was played.
It's just they can't. They like pushed up the wide guys a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, it makes it funky.
No, but the thing is, the way they set up on paper, this is right. This is not what happens though. Silva and Koba played the 6s. Grillo and Lewis were like the 2 10s in front of them, and then Savio and Marmouche were a little more inverted, playing like kind of like 9s, but neither of them were really like central 9s.
Mm-hmm.
With O'Reilly and Nunes being that width. So, I mean, it was definitely interesting. It shocked me a little when I woke up in the morning and looked at the lineup.
Boy, what the hell, boy?
But you guys know I love Lewis. So I threw on the Rico jersey, and he made it worth it 2 minutes into the game.
That he did.
That he did. It's interesting to see our defense's ratings because, like, yes, we got the clean sheet, but if anyone watched that game, definitely could have been Nottingham like 5, City 2. So
yeah,
I think they had a lot more. Well, I'll call them half chances compared to just
that's what they've been living off all year.
Exactly. They hit the post so many times.
They hit the post a couple times. Morgan, Gibbs
White. Yeah, he did that on purpose. I'm gonna just assume. Yeah.
Audition.
He went, all right, Pep, I got you.
Did he pass the audition?
I mean, he looked good. If those shots went off, he'd be the talk of the town right now. Like he would have had a brace.
Yeah.
Maybe gotten them through. But we got lucky. We needed that luck. We were not getting it earlier this season, so I will take that. A little unlucky for Knots to not have Yates and Elena, but with us not even playing like a real winger out there, I don't think Elena would have done much defensively to stop us. So it's interesting.
Fullbacks for Forest.
The kid that they played, and I think he's young.
Yeah, but
was that his first appearance? Something like that.
No clue, honestly.
But I didn't think he did that bad for someone who had to get thrown into the
I
fire.
thought they played all right. We just put away our chances. We didn't have many, so the ones that we did, we just put them away.
Pretty City.
And to be fair, in City's nightmare run, they got one win. It was against Forest, so they just got their number.
You guys have a unique ability of like taking teams out of the game with possession, like even if it's not necessarily good possession, and that happened.
Well, that's what
us.
we've
Like,
been doing lately. We've been playing kind of boring football, which is okay as long as we win. If we're gonna win and be boring, then fuck it, I don't care. Do what we need to do to get the 3 points, the win to go through the next round, whatever. But like a boring game like this in a
season,
exactly. Wembley, boring game, don't care. Take it.
Yep. That was his first appearance of the season on Abbott. He's 18. So like that is a massive spot and a massive call to put in a kid who's just played academy games there. That's a super on like the toughest pitch in England. So respect. The game was pretty dead. Like I was the one thing. It's funny. I didn't.
It was I think
the game itself, like just like everything about it was dead. Like because the traveling fans weren't there, and it just didn't feel like a semi. This is like some of the issues with the having the semis at Wembley that becomes an issue. Like because it's super unaffordable for a lot of the smaller parts of England, that these games can become like this, where it's like just dead. Like it didn't feel like there was any life in the stadium. Like, did you feel like there was life in?
I definitely thought we got loud and up for it at times, but outnumbered. A lot of empty seats on our part. But I think that just changes a little bit because Nottingham couldn't really break through. If they get one goal, that place lights up.
But only half the stadium lights up.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, the counter argument would just be Palace. I mean, you saw that place when Palace was scoring their goals.
They were lit, They were, but it's also
that's just the count. Devil's advocate.
Yeah, but even Villa's fans.
I get it.
For it. It was like the money. I think if I was like talking about the sport as a whole and the league as a whole, like there's a reason why people get upset that the semis are played at Wembley.
Because we also have to remember, like with the City fan thing is that we've been there so many times in the past 15 years that some of these people don't want to spend that money anymore, no matter how much they love the team. Like we've already went to Wembley this season, so they've had to make that trip. A lot of people can't afford that or don't want to pay the money to do that. So yeah, I get what you're saying with the atmospheres being a little different, but it's still Wembley. I feel like they get up for it. The people that do make it there are loud and proud. So I didn't really bother me.
Maybe the argument's as simple as if it's not a final and it's at Wembley, it's a bit woke. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? That it could be as simple as that.
Too.
But I mean, it's super cool. I'm sure the Palace fans. I mean, to be fair to Palace, they were in a semifinal at Wembley a few years ago. We beat them, but for a club like that to be able to go make that trip, like it's a big time. It's a great time. But perhaps it takes away the prestige of going to Wembley. And again, I definitely understand the perspective from a City fan. Like, obviously, it's a great honor. It's a privilege to be able to go to Wembley, but you've been there so many times. I get it.
Yeah, it's just there's like it's weird because there is magic when like in the FA Cup maybe the semi makes sense, but it wasn't the semi played there for the Carabao as well.
No, it's 2 legs.
It was okay.
Yeah. I compare it to like if it'd be like if we had to go up to San Francisco to watch the Galaxy play multiple times a year, and it cost us like $400 or $500 to get up there and down. Like, it's an experience.
Oh, it's way worse here.
It would be fun, yeah, of course, but that's just like kind of the distance and also the cost.
Sure,
it's what it would cost about the same.
Okay,
and like as fun as it could be, and as worth it as it could be, one, if you've already done this trip for the past 10-15 years, maybe you don't want to go. I don't know, there's plenty of reasons, but yeah,
I get it.
And if you're City, right, I think you take the gamble on you guys making the final. You know what I mean?
think that's a big thing
True.
too. I didn't want to say that, but
Yeah,
I think a lot of people are like, why would I make the trip to the semi
when
when
you
I
have
can
to make
go
the
to the final? Yeah, and then spend another. That's like a K down the drain if you just go to the two
it's
games.
ridiculous. Yeah. Last thing I wanted to say about the game, and we didn't talk about him much, is that Marmoush has been off the left for a while now, and he's looked really good there. Yeah. I think that's like it's a weird because Holland's been out, and obviously he's supposed to be coming back at some point. Like
Soon,
this
I think.
position for Marmoush makes a lot of sense. Like his ability to pick up spaces on the left-hand side has put in pockets where like you can just kind of see like Holland making a run through the middle and he's got the ball after making the run deep, and it's just like an easy layoff and Holland's got to tap in.
I think it's just so interesting because we have no idea how Pep's going to line them up next season. If they want to play like this, then it would probably be Marmoush and Holland. Holland taking the place of where Savio is in this, and except for they're at the top.
Yeah.
And then you'd have whoever the De Bruyne replacement is at the 10, where it's whoever, and then maybe a more attacking, Foden, maybe Gibbs White if we pick him up. Freaking even Rico. Apparently, he wants to play more advanced like he did. So,
With Kyle Walker coming back, someone else will be at right back likely.
Kyle Walker might actually get let go for free. Like we might just be like,
all right, makes sense. I wanted to just see if I could try to rage bait you. Sorry.
No, I know he's gone, so it's fine. I think look to see Nico G and Rodri there, in the middle. Like for all we know, he plays Holland at the striker, and we go back to the 4-3-3 when Rodri's back and Holland's back. Like there's just no way of telling right now. And Marmoush can definitely be that left wing option, playing in a half space more so with the left back overlapping. It's so hard to call.
It is. It's gonna be just this is like another stopgap year. Less of what Liverpool did and more of what you guys are actually going to be doing, which is like this weird transition. But then you're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be back with a vengeance next year, and
something to play for.
Yeah, definitely. And whoever wants the Premier League, I think it'll be a battle. No one's gonna be walking away with it next year.
No, you can't expect Spurs and Spurs and United to be as shit as they've been this season. So like those games become a little harder.
You guys took what?
We took a decent amount of points off of all the top teams for whatever reason. It's cool.
You took 5 points off of us.
Yeah, that's and I bet you all the bottom half teams we've given all the points to. Good season. Cool. Do you have anything else you want to say about City?
No. FA Cup final comes soon. And we're basically I think we're gonna sign some guys in like a month, which is crazy.
Like same.
We're gonna have
I'm hearing the same shit, dude.
In about a month. It's gonna be Diogo Costa,
goalie,
the keeper.
Yeah,
Porto,
the keeper, and then Cambiasso from Juve is what it's sounding like.
Does the window open up before the final?
Club World Cup teams get a special window. June 1st to June 10th.
Oh, it might be before
June 1st.
You wouldn't be able to
my
be
club deals in these quite a bit,
Mila.
I believe there's a special transfer window from June 1st to June 10th
for the Club World Cup.
For Club World Cup teams, and then it'll open
the
again.
Schedule looking like
I think our first game's on the 16th of June.
That's such a funny thing. Just open it for everyone and just put the.
Well, you have to because
I think it is. I think it is. It is open for everyone.
Don't get a break. It's not open for everyone. It's only the teams in the Club World Cup.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what?
We have
we're just gonna sign everybody, dude. We're gonna
and then like our guys don't get a break. That's why we have to pick up more players, or we're gonna have the most injuries out of all these teams in the world.
No. But what I'm saying is everybody should just be open to getting the player. Like, there's no reason to have like a 2-week window.
It's open. It's open. You know, Like you guys are
Yeah, I
all
mean, everyone's already
not in the Club World
It's
Cup
not-
is gonna basically like set up. It's
a
gonna be
here we
done.
go,
No.
and then you wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most teams
I don't
don't
even
even
know why
do
we-
that though. Like just wait. They don't wait. They just have like to get all the business
We
done
get to
and
bring 'em in.
registered and played. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
we
can
get
bring
to
them
bring
in.
okay. The special window is you actually being able to bring them to the club
Yes.
and like
Yeah.
have them.
They
start
would
playing
be
okay, so
playing in
it's
the Club
essentially
World
what
Cup.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
I
Cambiaso
have no
and
issue with that.
also
Like I
would
don't
probably
think that
be
any
playing
Oh, you
2
just
weeks after the season ends.
oh,
Like
we got
we're bringing
first
in
dibs on
those new guys.
everybody.
Yeah,
that's I thought that's what you were saying
no,
is that
it's not
the
that. That's not
teams
that.
got to just like you guys and everyone else in the Club World Cup got to just first game on.
Guess who just
obviously.
activated Lamine Yamal's release clause?
Like, what the fuck?
Unlucky. Oh man.
Okay. Chelsea.
Yeah, I was gonna say we were gonna sign some guys too, but I think we already announced we got 2 here we goes in like March, so yeah, on brand.
Yeah.
It's always transferring you guys.
Correct.
Back-to-back dubs, Grant. Back-to-back dubs.
Yeah, man. I think before we even start, you brought it up before we started recording. 4.7 is diabolical. I think it's not deserved. The goal came from Chalobah making a tackle on him. Mind you, he probably should have been tighter with the ball, no doubt. But he got an error leading to goal from Trev making
deep
a tackle.
Deep into their fucking
Yeah. It was crazy.
that
Like Enzo
tackle.
just picked the ball up, fed it to Jackson. And did you know that was Jackson's outside the box in his career?
No, I didn't know
Really?
that.
Is that surprising to anybody?
No, that's not.
Yeah, it's
surprising.
definitely not.
It's from outside the box.
Yeah, but what I'm more than anything, what I'm happy about, obviously, we just needed a goal, right? Just see it hit the back of the net. I don't care what it looks like, but a lot of the criticisms, mainly from our own fans, is the ball striking. And to be fair, it's pretty fair criticism for him. But he struck that with some venom. I've never really seen him hit one like that. He hit right through it, looked confident. Another one of those games where you would like to get another one. One goal lead's never comfortable, no matter the margin. I mean, Beto's last action in this game, and probably the only action other than the error leading to goal, ball just kind of falls to him, and he hits a rocket. Sanchez makes a good save, gets low. But yeah, they really didn't do too much for the most part of the game. I thought it was a pretty comfortable win for us. Madueke was surprisingly really good off the left. I think I've only seen him there one other time. I've seen him maybe one other time under Poch early last year play off the left for like 10 minutes, but he looked really good. Not to say he's been at a Ballon d'Or level, but it reminded me of Rafinha in terms of the spaces that he was getting into, the runs that he was making.
He's also super quick to get off a shot.
Yeah, with his right foot. He had 2 really good right-footed shots on target.
There's a little hesitation. I feel like he'll if he stays in that left side for a bit, like that'll grow into it for sure.
Yeah, but I was very pleasantly surprised with that cameo. Lavia, oh, he's so good, man. If he could stay fit, I'd love to see what we could do. And what's crazy about it too is obviously you see 115 million at right back and 105 next to Lavia. Obviously in possession, that's a 4-man midfield with Palmer. But it just looked so sound. I was not worried for the most part of this game. Typically with Chelsea, when goals that we've conceded throughout this year, it's a lot of transition. The midfield kind of getting bypassed pretty quickly, but this is just a really sound team, and less pressure on Enzo Fernandez defensively, which makes him a better defender. Yeah, I was just really happy with the performance. We just got to continue, get that momentum going forward. 4 tough games to end the year, along with Europe, Conference League, but we should be winning that. Won't be an easy semi-final. You got to play the games, but I like what I'm seeing. Sanchez 2 games in a row, hasn't done anything stupid.
He played fantastic, honestly.
Absolutely. Well,
I think most keepers were going to let in 2 of those shots. I know there was not much to do, is what you were about to say.
No doubt.
But
yeah. They didn't put much pressure on him feet. And the shot stopping, I mean, for the most part, I'd say that's one of his better traits.
Like
claiming he's sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, claiming he's a bit spooky. Ball playing. It's like me out there. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, Robert was sound. Hopefully, it's the last 4 Premier League games that I see him play for us. These 4, but I'd love for him to go out on a high note. And then bring anyone else in. Anyone else have a quick fire thoughts here?
Mila can talk on it first because he actually watched some of it, or like watched the highlights. I didn't watch the highlights of this.
So with this box midfield, when Caicedo's inverting, what happens when Cucurella's bombing up the wing? Are you guys just playing a 2-back?
He doesn't.
But I see him get into those situations.
Oh yeah, he does. It's a back 3.
Positionally, what happens? Does Caicedo sit when Cucurella goes up and they just alternate like you should? Or is one of
so you'll have. I don't want to say it's fluid because again, that's been one of our problems. But up until we're kind of settled in it's a back 3, Colwell in the middle, Cucurella and Chalobah on each side of him. And then you'll see Cucurella start to interchange because he'll also counter press really high.
Yeah, he does.
All the way to like the right wing and counter press at points. But so in those type of situations, that's when you'll see him get forward. Typically, Enzo will then drop a little further back, just kind of getting a feel of the game. Caicedo, he's never really a box crasher, making those type of runs. Lavia, same deal. So you have that stability there, especially again, Caicedo, Lavia is the key to that. When you have both of them out there, those are, I mean, Lavia more than Caicedo, but they're 6s. They're not thinking to get forward, make those runs. Enzo's kind of learning that. I think he's turning into that type of player to have that instinct of where and when to be in the box. But having Lavia and Caicedo there, especially to stop those transitions, that gives you a lot more freedom in that sense.
Okay.
And Madueke tucking in because he's obviously left-footed.
Yeah, but look, Lavia is the X factor, right? Like with him, you guys are it's so interesting, like such a different side. And I put it in our notes because I'm gonna bring it up now, but
of course,
because I want to ask you the question for the rest of the season, assuming health.
Yes,
assuming health. If he can give you 70 minutes every single game for the rest of the season, you starting this lineup? Like are you starting Reese in any of these games, or are you always going to be going with Caicedo, Lavia, Enzo?
I think it changes game by game, but that's a bit of a cop out. So to kind of give you in a simple short answer, yes. Short answer is yes.
Like but, if it was and available to do, and
there's context too. Get that twisted. Like Reese, for the most part, in these knockout conference league games, he's the 6. He's been playing in the midfield with Dewsbury Hall. Like, and again, I understand.
No, I think that's why Dylan is putting.
That's why I'm asking it.
Comparison. Yeah.
Right. So I think that absolutely plays a part into this. And look, that dude, to me, Reece James, I would say it a million times every time he comes up. I think he is one of the most gifted players, especially defenders, in terms of his technical ability, what he's able to do positionally, the versatility. We've had him for 30% of the available games for the past 3 years. So if this is what it takes to where these are almost ramp up games, let's get you comfortable being out there for 90 minutes. I don't know. Maybe that is the tactic. Maybe I'm full of shit. Whatever it is, I don't really care. My only worry is Caicedo is not a right back. And against a team like Everton, where 70% of the time he's operating as a midfielder, you get away with it. When we played Tottenham away, we came out with a very similar setup. Obviously, we didn't have Chalobah, but Lavia, Caicedo, Enzo. And at halftime, we hooked Lavia. I don't think he played after that. So again, injuries that put him out for 4 months. But that was a tactical sub, at least at the time. The manager said it was a tactical change. He put Gusto in, and it changed for us because Caicedo was having trouble with Son. So when you put a central midfielder at right back defensively, and again, Caicedo's a great defender. He wins so many duels. That's a completely different spot. So when we're playing Liverpool, again, they're probably going to be drunk. If they put Luis Diaz out there, maybe I'd be a little concerned about that. So matchups like that, to me, it's all going to end up being who we're playing and how the manager thinks the opposition's going to set up and how we want to approach what they're trying to do. But short answer is yes. as it stands, this is probably the most sound lineup we got.
It's just an interesting puzzle piece because I mean I think all season, and to Facundo's credit, in a sense, he's talked about how you guys have needed to change in terms of what you guys have been doing at right back, right? Like that was the whole Gusto point that he was making. I think we just kind of missed the mark in terms of what Enzo sees that position as, and it's just another six.
A six. Yeah, you're a six.
It's literally your right back is a six. And so like that's why I was thinking about it, was like Lavia in this system is a six sitting next to another six, which just ends up being Caicedo, and Caicedo's not getting
and
out
Enzo
of the side.
Fernandez is starting to look very comfortable in this advanced position. He's not a striker. He's not playing as a lone six, but he's starting to learn when to make the final runs, when to sit back, when to aggressively go into challenges, when to sit back. Like he's starting to really learn the nuances, because it's a tricky position to play. Where you're out of possession, you're a double pivot, you have a lot of responsibilities in some sense defensively, and then when you have the ball, you need to make runs into the box. Like you need to be going back and forth. He's scoring headers this year. I mean, fair credit to him. I mean, he's also wearing the armband. I'm really happy with him. Obviously, Palmer, I thought he was all right, but again, he's got very high standards, as he should. He's a top class player, and I think we need him and Jackson firing if we want to finish in Champions League. These last four are not going to be easy. So, again, fine, good, solid performance, but we need more than solid. We need great, and you are, but show it for 4, and then we're good.
I mean, this was the most direct you guys have played since the start of the season, so we'll see if that continues.
Very optimistic. I think you had to win this game, obviously. And 1-0 looks a bit spooky, but it was pretty comfortable for me, all things considered.
Yeah, no, I no longer have questions, I think, about the back line and the midfield. It just comes down to, can you score enough goals to get you to the finish line? Right? Like,
absolutely. And it really does come down to the goal scoring. And let me make sure I'm not talking out of my ass here. I'm just pulling up the numbers, if you don't mind. Of course, it's not good. But I saw like 3rd best defense in the league or something like that with Chelsea, like the goals conceded. Someone fact check me real quick. Where are we at on that?
You guys have conceded 40. Seeing a lot of 41s. Yep. Liverpool and Arsenal are the only 2 above you guys, I believe.
So 3rd best defense in the league. I would like to give a lot of credit to the team as a whole for that. I think Poch last year, we conceded about 60. It was bad. We were wide open defensively. A lot of teams popped us. And this team, I think, critical throughout the year, not for the whole year, but each of our defenders have gotten a fair bit of flack. I'd say maybe bar Cucurella, but Gusto's underwhelmed, right? We always talk about his level. Colwill, is he living up to the potential? Sassy, you get the point. I think, and especially with the man in between the sticks, the 3rd best defense in the league.
I goofed
with
it.
That personnel
has 39, but the point still stands.
4th best defense in the league. They played 1 less game.
Oh yeah, okay. Then
But bottom line, I think you give a lot of credit, and especially this is almost like our fan base. Like, you give this manager you say so much about the guy. We need to get rid of him. All this. You remember how awful we were last year defensively, right? Like, I know you remember that. And it's the same guys. I'm pleading with you, like, for all the things you blame him about with, we pass side to side and they're always booing in the ground. Like, there's trade-offs to everything. Like, do you want to just keep playing basketball for 90 minutes? Like, the 4-3 against, like, that was a crazy game. I really enjoyed watching that one last year, but we do not want to be doing that every week. And all the serious teams in the world do not do every week. So, again, there's growing pains. I said at the beginning of the year, this year would just suck. Like, it would be tough. I didn't think it'd be anything like this, but it's been tough. All things considered, we've had a fair share of downs, but this is what you get. Like, as much as we want to harp about how boring we are now, I will take being this good defensively without a real wow name at center back. I think there's lots of optimism to be had if you're looking in the right places.
Yeah, no, look, this conversation with Chelsea has gone up and down every other week just based off results. And so I don't want to go over on one end or the other end at this point because I think we've already done that. I've done that. I've been guilty of it. And now I'm just at this point,
it's part of the game.
What happens at this
part
point?
Of the game.
Because we in a couple weeks from now or a few weeks from now, we could be like Chelsea make Champions League. Great first season for the manager. You guys are going to build out and you have the Club World Cup and things are looking up and up and up.
Yep.
But we could also be 4 weeks from now and we could be like, oh, Knots has won it on the last day. Start the fucking fires. You know what I mean? Like start the fucking pitchforks because you guys had out of all the teams in the world to have a fucking protest. I don't think Chelsea is the one I was looking at as being the team to have a protest. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, bro. That was 2 months after we were chanting, we've got our Chelsea. 2 months.
Yeah,
is all it took. Yeah, our season's been incredibly up and down. It's been a roller coaster.
Brats. That's what it is. It's spoiled brats.
Yes,
can't enjoy the ups and downs in the sport. Then you don't understand what a sport is.
It's part of the game. It's just part of the game, man. You can't concede a goal and play reset. You can't pause the game. You can't close out.
Take the ball home with you.
This is part of the game. This is part of the game.
Why can't I take
I just I don't know.
Ball?
That one, dude, that one might have been a little more personal because all I see on my feed is like, oh, this football is shit. Oh my goodness, like we don't ever pass the ball forward. First off, we do. We just don't finish. We create half. We've had that conversation enough times. But let's just say it has been horribly boring, which we have been guilty of at times. Look how good our defense is statistically. Even though you look at that name, you look at the names, you watch these games, you're like, ooh, some of these guys, I don't know if they're going to cut it if this is where we want to go. I think you have to give the same credit to the manager. For the same people that bash him, who gets credit for the defense, right? Yep. Sanchez?
He stuck with them all year. To be fair to him.
No, he didn't. He like 3 weeks and then said after the Villa game, remember it went right through Jorgensen at the end.
That was honestly
and then he said
a point. Yeah. He gave the other guy a chance. Was like, hey, look, this guy's also shit. Here we go.
You know what I mean? I don't care. Even he's had some bad moments, no doubt. I've seen enough from the other guy.
No,
Petrovic needs to come back.
A new keeper. Yeah.
Yeah, and by the new keeper, the one that we loaned out last year, the one who benched the starting keeper this year.
Look, man, playing around with
that's not Maresca's fault.
French league keepers is
actually
not.
That one is.
That's not a guaranteed success. You know what I mean?
But I think that was
Petrovic also had his mistakes. There's a reason why you guys loaned him out.
Oh yeah,
like
absolutely.
Say that
he was horrible this week.
Is going to be
no doubt. He's actually the highest rated goalkeeper in top 5 leagues according to FootMob. So
yep,
I win.
Yeah, I take
He's the best keeper in the world.
I take -8 out of French league players unless they're a forward and they have talent. Really, it's kind of I don't really take much in the league. When you talk about statistics, you know what I mean?
Bro, Chevalier.
Yeah, Batty
if you're talk about anyone in the French league, goalies out of the French league. He's not.
It's the stats.
No, we got all those guys from France. Yeah, I got you. But yeah, we'll prove it at the end. We'll find out what's gonna happen. That's what we said last week. Wherever we, that's where we deserve. I still stand by that.
All right.
Cool. Yep.
Should we talk
Let's switch gears to the thing that everyone's going for is Champions League. Let's go from big picture to small picture because we're Premier League. But big picture. Big picture. Big picture. We're down to 4 teams in the Champions League. Multiple guests on the pod have talked about this team, the Arsenal team, and they play PSG, and we'll deep dive into that in a second. But I wanted to do kind of like how you guys have viewed this format. Have you guys enjoyed it? And then predictions for who you think gets to the final and who ultimately wins it, just at this state. And then we can go actually into the Arsenal and PSG game.
Format's cool, and Barca are beating PSG in the final.
Yeah, I mean, Grant and I talked about the format a fair bit with Brendan and Shadman. There's definitely some things that can be fixed, but for all the good stuff that came with this new format, I don't think the bad things come close. Like, I don't think there was that much wrong with the format, and it being the first year of something new like this. For us to have minimal complaints, I think is great. And this is not the final version of it either. So that's where I'm like, okay, this is fine. As long as they keep improving it, they listen to the fans, the clubs. Maybe I know Brendan was saying that he'd like the rankings in the initial round, the knockout rounds, to actually hold some weight with the placement of matches of the
home leg,
and
away leg, yeah.
So just like little things like that, like making sure there's no useless
English versus
games
English
going on. Yeah,
early.
Useless rules in there, like anything like that that just seems unnecessary. I think needs to be taken out. But in terms of like little teams like a Lille or a Brest being able to make it a little deeper than they probably would in most years, it's super cool. Some people might want to say it's luck, but Lille went to most of the best teams in Europe, and Jonathan David put one or two on their head top every time. So I see other people's qualms about it where there's no get back, but who cares? It's the group stage.
Yeah, bro.
You lose to a team in the group stage, your get back should be in the knockout round. You should be wanting to kick them out of the tournament.
Right.
So I
think the only real complaint is the fixture, the additional fixtures. That's really the only major one that I think is valid and absolutely worth the argument. I totally get that. To your point, Mila, they'll be able to smooth out the problems. Like, I'm not a huge fan of two teams from the same league facing off that early. Like Atleti and Real, Bayern. We could wait a little later for that. But again, that's a little thing. That can be adjusted. I think I heard that is the thing they're looking at. So I think they'll be able to really touch this up and put the finishing touches on it to make it even better. I was a fan, all things considered, but neutral fan, sadly.
Yeah, I enjoyed the format too. I thought at first I had concerns, but I think at the end of the day, I want to see the best teams play the best teams, right? And a story like PSG, who we'll talk about later, like that's really cool. Like they sucked and then they turned it around and then they went to beat the best team in England, and then they went and beat probably one of the hottest teams in England, and now they're playing the next team in the next best team in England, right? So just England
they're trying
all
to
the way
beat the
through.
Farmers League allegation, yeah.
But even not this, like we got Arsenal Real, we had Atletico Real, like even the like I know that they're in the same country. I don't care. I kind of like watching those.
It's a good matchup. I love that matchup. I loved it. Yeah, no doubt. It's just
I don't
early.
watch.
That was my only.
I don't watch Spain.
But those can happen
Germany.
any year after the group.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's just
the old format round of 16 wouldn't be two teams from the same country.
That's right. Okay.
So technically, this round of 16.
And those are all playoffs on the left. Yeah.
So
they added a new.
Even then, like
they might.
How good is
they'll fix it.
Real
they'll
game?
do shit. Whatever.
You know
what
I mean? I think it just adds an extra wrinkle.
It was sick.
It's just an extra wrinkle to it. None of these games. The only issue I kind of saw was there were a lot of blowouts. Like there were a lot of teams that got into these portions of the season and then just fell apart.
PSG beat Brest 10-0 on aggregate. Yeah.
There's a lot of these.
That's fucked up.
But overall, it was really good.
For sure.
Yeah. But now we're down to 4.
It was mainly just Leverkusen and that PSG Brest fixture that really
Villa
Bruges. I remember there being just a lot of fucking just pumping. That could happen.
Arsenal, PSV, yeah.
Madrid, Arsenal, sadly.
Yeah.
I guess there were a good amount, but that's whatever. It's
a lot of games.
That could happen in any season. So that's just more of just the early portions. But like I said, down to 4 teams. You got Arsenal, PSG, and Barca, Inter. Best team in France, best team in Italy, best team in Spain, and then second best team in England.
3 straight times.
They're setting records, dude.
Third best team.
In standings.
I
was just talking about tables. I didn't. I just said that. Just talking about the table currently.
He's coming.
No, I know. We're coming.
Week 34. Yeah. So 4 teams left. Let's break it down. We'll start with Barca and Inter. Who do you guys have going through from that set of games?
I got Barca.
Same.
I do think Inter can make it ugly, make it close, but I do
absolutely.
Even if it is close, I just have Barcelona squeezing through.
Inter, I think we almost kind of like brushed them off there. Inter are a very tough side. They've been together for a good amount of time now. The coach has been there for a good amount of time. Such a fluid system. They have a of each other, but Barca's starting to feel like the team of destiny, along with being the best team throughout the year, I'd say. So yeah, I think Barca's just it's too tough right now. I can't.
This is a tough fixture just because of not having Lewandowski. Honestly, that's the one thing that kind of throws. Like if they had Lua,
if
they had Lua,
been a monster this year.
He's back.
Yeah,
Ferret's been a monster.
He's barely played 2
years. You know what I mean? Like, and they make these games mucky. I still have Barcelona as well going through because I think they have the best. Right? Like I think Yamal is my Ballon d'Or winner if I had to pick one right now.
That's crazy.
It's not crazy. He's the best. I think he might be the best player on planet Earth. I don't know.
That's fair. I'd give it to Pedri, but yeah, I guess we're on the same page. So that team.
You're just midfielders here. We only get to do that once every couple of years, okay? You don't get to pick every year. It's not how that works.
Give it. I think Rafinha would get it between the attackers just because everyone loves the cats.
He was so.
And they'll be like, "Oh, Yamal can get one later on in the line." No doubt. I think he deserved it. People are really dogging on these it's the worst Ballon d'Or since. Yeah, no shit. We had the 2 best players of all time for 15 straight years winning them. Like, of course, it's gonna feel like a drop off. Like, it just is what it is. People need to stop whining about all that, but.
No, that's fair. I would just give it to Yamal because I like him a lot more. But Rafinha's been insane. He's been insane. Okay, so we have Barca in the final. Arsenal PSG. Just before we get into our preview, just do you guys have Arsenal or PSG going through? We can break it down more. Just give me your quick this is who I got.
Luis Enrique, please. I mean, honestly, like Arsenal looked really good in the competition. You got to give credit where credit's due. You do. They dismantled Real Madrid. PSG have looked very good. PSG have looked very good. I think the only thing not the only thing, but what Arsenal can exploit, and I think their path to victory is the midfield, right? To overpower them physically. That's kind of what the main talking points I've been hearing in favor of Arsenal. But those 3 have looked really good. And by those 3, Vitinha, João Neves, Fabian Ruiz. I don't know how he's still starting, but whatever. Yeah, they've been very good.
So who do you got?
I just can't pick Arsenal. I can't pick Arsenal in good faith.
I'm picking PSG.
I want to reverse jinx them though.
Look, man, if all 3 of us got on this podcast,
I said that, it's not even
Arsenal after the way that we've talked about them this season, we'd all be hypocrites. So
I thought about it. Like the main thing, like Grant was saying, is the midfield. But they fucking played Liverpool. And they played fine. So
Partey suspended in the first leg as well.
I'm just not worried. I'm not worried about that Arsenal midfield. I don't think Rice is going to carry them through another leg like he did.
I mean, Rice again.
So we'll see. He's super good, but like for us to expect a Rice brace is crazy. So
Let's shelf
Yeah.
that conversation for a second because we're going to go into that. We all have PSG versus Barca. Who do you have there?
Barca.
I think Barca are just gonna win their trouble. That Madrid
Barca are gonna win the Champions League to me, regardless of who they play.
It's interesting. I don't know. Kind of like PSG here. It would be
It'd be very funny.
Very funny if Mbappe leaves and PSG wins it.
I would love that. Either way, it sucks for Mbappe. That's all.
Yeah,
the big win here is Mbappe's in pain.
I'll just
he scored a free kick.
I'll take PSG.
Scored a free kick.
But at what cost?
That game was funny. That game was funny.
Okay, now let's deep dive into Arsenal PSG. Here's probably the projected 11s for the game. I don't know. I'm assuming they have Mourinho in here and Trossard in here on FotMob just because of the suspension that you were talking about, Grant. But we're gonna see some variation of this.
That's probably it.
This is up there for probably the two best midfield battles, like in any. Like if we could have paired up two midfields for me, like these two midfields are probably the top 5 in terms of midfields, right? Like that, it's just such a
sure.
They neutralize each other in a lot of spots. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't feel as weighted in one way or the other for me.
I mean, Arsenal got a 2-0 group stage, I believe. Very different side. PSG put out, not too different, but different teams of the season. I don't take too much stock from that. Just wanted to put it out there. I think Partey's a big miss. I think it'll be better for them on paper to have 3 attackers in the 3 attacking positions. But to be fair to Marino, he did very well as their deputy 9. I just think ball progression in that first phase. I think Lewis Skelly's going to have to be big in this game. Facundo gets mad at me for calling out a deficiency in a £100 million number 6, but I personally have some gripes with his ability to progress from the first phase, to be able to receive the ball in the half turn, get the ball up, play a good ball forward, play a good through ball. He's an elite carrier of the ball, which is why he's been so good in that 8 spot. With that freedom to really just drive through teams. He's been fantastic. His box crashing, his ability to score goals, the ball striking, all things I didn't see from him at West Ham. Fair play. He's been doing very well in that role. I think Marino being next to him as that left 8 also helps. I think that Lewis Skelly and Marino being there should be able to get away with it. Odegaard as well, obviously. But I'd be concerned. I think that's something to look at.
It's just an interesting matchup. Sorry, go ahead, Mila.
Lewis Skelly red card?
Maybe. When I
Bruno
look at
Mensch
this,
lock up another star?
I'm not worried about Arsenal's midfield in the sense that they might be able to overpower PSG's midfield in terms of strength. But when we went up against that PSG midfield and when other teams have been playing against them, they're active. They're very rapid. Not in a winger sense rapid, but they're just constantly moving. They have engines and they're quick in the midfield. And they kind of make it's a controlled chaos for them, it seems like. And then they give it to the chaos up front, which is also somehow just beautiful. But they have those monsters up there that just wreak havoc on defenses. Going against an Arsenal team that has a great defense.
Yeah, I just think that you can definitely. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I just think that the main thing with this is the first, 15, 20 minutes. We're gonna have to see how PSG are gonna play this. I'm more worried about how PSG tactically line up for this match than I am about Arsenal.
I think we see tactically. I mean, you're probably going to see that back 4. You're probably going to see that midfield 3.
No, I think this is going to be it. Like this is probably
Due or Barcola is my only question.
How are they going to operate? Is what I'm questioning.
I think
trying to pin
Lewis
back Arsenal.
Yeah, what are you going to hit him on the counter? Are you going to try to take
control?
Yeah,
Lewis Skelly's a very good player. Don't get it twisted. Very good player. But him and Kivio are definitely inexperienced relative to the rest of their team and what they would typically have out there. Again, Lewis Skelly, not a natural left back. And with this front three, the way they move and interchange, Dembele will pop up on that side. Then it'll be Kvara. Then it'll be one of Due or Barcola. Those are all very tricky customers. Lewis Skelly has shown to be a bit overzealous in the tackle from time to time. I would like to think he's probably learned from those lessons and will be very aware of that. But again, that can happen. I think Saka and Nuno Mensch is going to be an exciting matchup because, I mean, Nuno Mensch, I remember last year in that Champions League semifinal, like Sancho dribbled past him like 12 times or just something like absurd, right? Where it was like, oh my goodness, lights are too bright, like the big stage, and he just gets cooked. He's been locking people up this year. It's been a penitentiary over there. So Saka, I think he's probably closer to full fitness for sure. That's a good matchup to look at too.
I think that's the matchup. I've been looking at this the whole time, and I just keep thinking like about the teams. I think that their forward line gets really neutralized by their back four, and then I look at the other one. It kind of just everything kind of matches up. These are very even teams to me.
Yeah,
I could see
the matchup comes down to Mendes, right? And if he can lock up Saka in terms of the way that he did with Salah, or on the inverse, can he get Saka out of position and force him to do defensive duties compared to if Saka can force Nuno Mendes to be a defender flat right?
Pin him back, yeah.
Because that's when he's at his worst.
Yeah. I think that comes into play with like what I was wondering, like how are they going to line up? Are they going to be pushing them heavily with Mendes making those runs going forward? Like I don't know how PSG are going to go about this. Right? The thing is too is like the front three of Arsenal don't. I'm not really worried about them.
You're only worried
PSG,
about one.
I mean,
you're worried about Saka, exactly. Whereas like Arsenal have to worry about that entire front three. They're all lethal and they're all on one right now. So it's like
100% the same boat.
It's to your point, Mila. PSG when they've been vulnerable in the Villa game, we saw where they're vulnerable. Right, if they could commit a lot of bodies forward, if you of the counter press, you've got a shot. If you get numbers forward, you absolutely have a shot. Because it looks like Mendes, usually they're in like a back three when they're building up. And then he gets licensed to just bomb forward. Hakimi's always forward. But yeah, if you catch him out of position, Saka is up forward, that can be dangerous. So if he can keep him pinned back and almost as that third center back, maybe it's different. But yeah, I think this is a good game. Two evenly matched teams, no doubt.
Right? Arsenal just go about it the way Arsenal would if against fucking Rodri, just take out Saka within the first 30 seconds, destroy him.
Dude, this is a much more complex problem for PSG to figure out because Arsenal know what they're going to do.
I don't think it is. I mean, I don't think it's a problem at all for PSG. I just think they need to be locked in. Like they know it's very route one with Arsenal right now. I can't see much else coming.
My concern lies with the counterattacking thing because they just tore up Real Madrid because that's all Real can do, right?
Real don't play as a team though. Real
are way worse than PSG.
But
PSG are like the power of friendship right now.
But PSG are going to commit, like you guys just said, potentially 5 or 6 men forward at all times, right? Like both of their wing backs bomb up. All 3 of their guys go forward. And then you're stuck with just the midfield and your 2 center backs.
But
and
I'm not
Arsenal can exploit that. I think
they definitely can. They have much more of a structure. They still have structure, unlike Madrid. Madrid is just vibes. There's not much of any sort of structure out of possession. They're well coached.
No, they
can
well
still
coached.
leave themselves. They can definitely still leave themselves open, though, no doubt. But Madrid, you can get through them any which way. You have to beat a tough press just to get through these guys. It's not like they'll lose the ball. Like someone will try a Travella, the pass will get cut out, and then it's just, oh, here you go. It's not as easy.
No, but what teams have given Arsenal problems this year? Not the teams that try to hit them on not the teams that try to take it to them. It's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And like
this plays in Arsenal's strengths.
It can. And that's where it becomes a tactical battle. And that's why I'm saying, like, for Arsenal, there is no question really being asked. Like, they're just going to do what they've been doing. But for PSG, the question becomes, if you play like you played against Villa, you will get destroyed. Like I
don't even know if I'd go that far because I mean, for points of the Villa tie, I'll just go both legs because you can kind of say it this way. There's parts of that game, definitely the second leg, where like first 30 minutes, like, oh, who's gonna beat PSG? Like, just look at this, and then for a 10-minute stretch, you're like, oh, they're gonna lose, they're gonna blow it again. So I think to what Mila said earlier, it might sound a bit dumbed down. They might just need to lock in. It really might just be that. Like, don't take too many risks. Because there's times where they'll play some very intricate one-touch passes, making runs in between guys. Again, if they pay off, you have a chance created, a big chance even. But when it doesn't, and a team is defensively solid as Arsenal, physical, loves getting in the duels, maybe you don't take that chance. Nuno Mendes maybe doesn't overlap as much. So I think there's nuances there. And if it does come down to a tactical battle, if we go resume for resume, I think one guy should be favored if we're going that route. So
I don't know. I'm struggling here.
I know, but I think I'm on the opposite way where I don't know what Arsenal has without a Partey in that midfield. You're dropping Marino into it. It's different, obviously. Makeshift defense with Kiwior and Lewis Skelly back there on one side, like against probably the most informed front three, though. Like that front three is ridiculous. The only thing comparable to it right now of recently has been Barca, but like you said, Lee was out, so that kind of makes this the best front three.
They're all firing,
and you're going up.
And they got a fourth one on the bench.
How many times have Kiwior and Lewis Skelly played together? 3 times
at most.
Both since before the Madrid games, right?
It's got to be 5 at most.
Okay, so like I don't know. It's just I would be very scared if Arsenal had their full defense. Totally 100% think that they could keep out this PSG team, and that this is a lot more of a coast, and you can can relax a little more. But there's definitely going to be some pressure, some tension on the shoulders on that left side, and Doué alone would be an issue. But they have Dembele and Kvaratskhelia right next to him, all interchangeable
off the bench,
fresh legs. Exactly, like
or Doué off the bench. Either one is dangerous. And I think also to the point of Arsenal, again, in the league, I think Arsenal fans would tell you they'd be disappointed, but they've really gotten in this groove in Europe. And I think a lot to do with that, that direct play, to be able to have a target man in a sense of Marino, to be able to play that ball. He'll win a lot of duels in the air. Trossard, again, not a slouch in the air, but that's a different player that you're just hucking balls at the halfway line. So I think that, again, that's another wrinkle into this. But yeah, I got PSG. Let's go, Mila.
It's a complex one. Okay. We're running long. So let's just do star player and prediction for Arsenal versus PSG, and then we'll wrap it up.
First leg's at home for Arsenal.
I'm not sure.
I'm going 2-0 PSG. Doué, man of the match.
I was also going to say 2-0, but I'll stick with it. We are together. Star player. Maybe this is a little edgy. I'll go Marquinhos, because a personal opinion of mine, every time I see a crime scene, he's there. So no bozo moments, sir. Same goes for Donnarumma. Those two, both of them. My eyes are on you, boys.
Yeah, they are at home. I 2-0 is crazy. Like, PSG don't keep clean sheets.
It's vibes, bro.
Yeah, bro. Loud.
At the Emirates,
when have I ever put logic into any of my predictions?
No, I know. I just. I think this ends 2-2. I think that it's a draw, and then
2 Rice free kicks.
I think Saka and Mendes kind of
Rice bicycle kick brace, one with each leg.
Oh man, my star player is going to be Donnarumma. So you're going Marquinhos. I'm going Donnarumma because
you could have Donnarumma.
He's been their best player. Like that PSG. Oh my god, every game he makes the most absurd saves. Every single game in this
turning into Courtois. Yeah,
absurd. And so
just giant motherfucker in between the sticks. Yeah,
he's very good. It's funny because he
shot
has his
stopper. You know what it is? He's learned his limitations because I feel like a lot of the problems he'd almost get into himself, where he's overconfident in his ball playing ability. No problem with Huffing, just fucking boot it. Like there's no problem in doing that. And he's been showing in this Champions League on a very good shot stopper. Great in pens too. So if this does go to penalties, it also advantage PSG because Raya will jump 2 seconds early.
Right.
God, no, Roma's a crazy man.
He is a crazy man, but
Bro's like a 10-year pro already.
Yeah, dude.
He looks it.
Literally,
he does not look
26. He's a year older than us.
Yeah, he looks 36. Hey, he's 2 years older than you, buddy.
Man, no, I mean, because look, Arsenal are probably going to take the ball. They will have more of the total shots. Would be my assumption, just with it being a home game, and he's going to have to make the saves. He'll have to. You just got to give yourself a chance to go back to the Parc de France. I think that's where they play.
Parc de France. Parc de France.
I can't say
Minos,
but yeah, so that's what I'm going with.
Boo,
Come on, PSG, do it. Do it,
right,
PSG.
That's right. Come on, we're all rooting for you guys.
I'll be happily
if time
I'll wear the PSG
preview.
jacket.
I'll go buy one. I'll go buy one.
You got to get the wings on like a Barclay.
Dude, they have they have a PSG store at Caesar's Palace. I'll go there and
they have a lot of PSG
I'll spend
stores.
everything I'll spend everything I have. It says if time you Chelsea versus Pool, I can do that in about 10 seconds. Hopefully they're drunk and they let us win. That's my preview.
Yeah. Fair. We'll definitely talk about that one more on the next episode, just because I assume that it'll have some form of implications.
There's implications, yeah, whatever the fuck we're doing.
Yeah, implications. Cool. Good to wrap it up?
Oh, yeah.
C.O.C. episode 39. Myself, Mila, Grant. Thanks for listening, and we will see you guys in.
2 words for him. Different gravy. Glorious goal! Reads in red. We're really seeing the most extraordinary finish here. On this day of days, has he delivered? Just magnificent! Potentially life-changing! That's football. Minute you let it under your skin, then you begin to make it better.